last video, we ventured up the Arthur River as it winds its way through the Tarkine forest. We made our way to the Turk's Landing, where we go ashore for a walk through the subtropical forest with our guide.
We've disembarked from the George Robinson and we've stopped at Turk's Landing, where we're going to have a barbecue lunch. So it's a beautiful walk through the bush here. It's just very beautiful, very peaceful, very natural.
The Tarkine provides habitat for over 60 rare, threatened and endangered species of flora and fauna. Local residents include the platypus, echidna, wombat, bandicoot, possum and grinder, not to mention the famous Tasmanian devil and the state's other predators, the spotted-tailed quoll and the eastern quoll.
Work with that one these days. Just behind us here we have some lovely myrtle trees. So if we have a look at their leaves, they're about the size of our pinky fingernail. They are the smallest leaf of any of the trees that we're going to see today. In the springtime they put out all of their new growth and we get the lovely autumnal colours. There are two species of myrtle that we find here in Tassie. We have the Northophagus cunninghamii and the Northophagus gunnii. Here we have the cunninghamii, which is the non-deciduous. Around Cradle Mountain they have the gunnii, which is the deciduous. Their leaves are slightly different, a bit more seashell shaped and then definitely scalloped around the edges and ridged. So from the smallest leaf in the forest we have right next to the largest leaf in the forest, and that is our native laurel, that kind of elongated waxy green leaf. So back where my family's from, Gold Coast hinterland, Lamington National Park and the ranges there, we used to have the native laurel up in that area as well. So the two places I've called home both have native laurel, so it's a really cool connection for our family. Beautiful white bell-shaped flower is found on these guys, but interestingly no scent, absolutely none. Yeah, from the beauty of them you think that they would have a scent, but no, absolutely none. Alright, we'll keep wandering our way up through. We have our tree ferns. So down here we have our man fern and we have our lady fern. These are the two of the, I think it's either 3 or 4 species that we have here. So our man fern down here, if we get a good look at him, he's very soft on the outside, and because of that really soft exterior, makes him an incredibly great hoster. So when these guys grow, they suck all of the dirt and nutrients up with them, and then their canopy at the top there acts like a big funnel. So they funnel in the water. Because of that, they are very nutrient dense and always nice and moist. So you can pretty much plant anything into one of these guys and it will grow nicely for you. I've seen people even cultivate awesome veggie gardens out of your man fern. So if I was to burrow down through his soft exterior, inside there he has a solid core, or heart as we call it. So it would probably be around the same size as my stick here. Doesn't do a great job of keeping him upright, but over here we have our lady fern. So as you can see, she is much rougher on the outside, quite sharp. If I was to burrow my way down through her exterior, her heart inside is triple that of the man fern. So we wouldn't have to go down very far to find our lovely lady's heart. So their umbrella term in Tassie is tree fern, but locally they are known as your man fern and your lady fern. So Dicksonia antarctica, Cyathea australis. In my family, we call this one Dick, this one Cynthia. So that helps us remember their names. On average, these guys grow 1 to 2 centimetres per year. So extremely slow to grow. So judging by the height of this lady fern here, she's double me at least. So put her over 500 years of age. So my dad, our dad, he grew up the youngest of 4 sisters. So he describes this scene here as his 4 sisters towering over him, and this is him cowering down in absolute agony for his childhood. Destroyed, so he says. And now he has a home full of mostly women anyway, so lucky him, I say. No, he's a great man. So we'll keep wandering our way up, folks. Another fantastic example of a myrtle tree. So she is the Nothofagus cunninghami. If you have a look up there, she is a beautiful tree, but she still has the same size leaves. So very large tree, very small leaves. So we estimate this one to be probably around 800 years of age. UTAS came up, they sent some students up this way a few years ago, and they took a core sample of Mother Myrtle, as we call her, and they aged her around that 800 year mark. So the oldest myrtle to our knowledge that we have on our landing here. Myrtles quite often produce burls, which lots of craftspeople utilise to make bowls, because the ornamental nature of the burls creates wonderful markings in bowls. Very, very red timber when worked with. Our panelling along the edges of the boat is myrtle. So here we also have our whitey wood, and down here we have our horizontal tree. These guys are best friends. Quite often we find one together. So our whitey wood here has 3 opposite leaves. Grow. So we have a look. It actually says on its leaves, whitey wood. Your great timber. Majority of our walking sticks that we have are whitey wood, and we've got some hand railings up further that we have used for whitey wood. It's quite supple. Our horizontal tree over here, as we can see, its main trunk grows horizontally with its branches heading up vertically, looking for light. These guys proved a huge nuisance for early explorers of Tassie. They would be stepping down into what they thought was fairly solid ground and would fall down into the mess of horizontal trees, and lives were lost in the early years. So as their branches travel on up, over time they will become heavy, they'll fall down, and then more branches will shoot up and continue that search for light. There was an early explorer, forgive me, I've forgotten his name, but it took them over 30 days to get from Launceston to Burnie, which is in today's world, it's a couple of hours if that. It took them over 30 days to get off the absolute mess of scrub that they were travelling through. Of the wood here and the bark does feel quite leathery, but also its leaves. So if I can, I will reach over. Oh, I don't think I'm sure enough. Can I borrow a water?
So you want this one?
The leather wood over the back there.
This guy?
Yeah. That one?
That one?
Yeah, that one. So I'll pass around a few leaves, folks. Give them a good feel. They feel leathery. Okay, pass. So you've got feels leathery, it's wood, smack them together, leather wood. So it works.
Lot of science.
Yeah, logic. Why not? So as we can hear, great for our bees. And this is of course ourselves where our leatherwood honey comes from. So our trees, our leatherwood trees do flower in their early years of life, but their flowers and their pollen are not suitable for the bees to collect until the tree reaches 75 years of age. And their most prolific flowering years are from when the tree is between 125 and 175 years of age. So quite an old tree, and on average I think they live to about 210 years thereabouts. So as I said, great for honey, very, very polarizing honey. Some people love it, some people hate it. I find if you're in the hate it category, give it a try once it's been creamed. The flavour kind of mellows out a little bit, it's not quite as strong. There is a local honey place at Morgana, which is about 15 minutes or so past the Stanley turn off. There's a right hand turn. Blue Hills Honey. So if anyone's heading out that way, definitely pop in there for a visit. Honey, it's great how they like to eat. And whilst you're out that way, make sure you pop into Dip Falls and the Big Tree. So if you want to see a big tree, that's really good evidence of what good volcanic soil can do for round top stringy bark. So with your leatherwood bark here, the indigenous people, they would use our leatherwood bark in accompaniment with your blackwood sap. So blackwood sap is very, very highly antibacterial, even more so than what hospital grade is used for today. So a wound, they would scrape out the blackwood sap, place that on their wound, take a piece of leatherwood bark, place that over the top as a wound dressing, tie it on with a piece of Bushman's blue lace. There you go. All sorted. There we have a sassafras tree. It does have the white label on it. You can spot that one. So that's our sassy. Really, again, lots of our timbers are ornamental here. Quite a pale timber. In the early years, people used to boil up the leaves and make a sassafras tea or a sassafras beer, or rocket fuel as it was known as. I do not suggest anybody go home and make a sassafras tea or a sassafras beer. To our knowledge, it has a drug-like effect, most akin to speed, with hallucinogenic qualities. So I do not recommend. Yes. I do not recommend consumption of any of your sassafras products.
Herbal remedies.
Which one is it again?
So our sassafras timber, because it's such a pale timber, it did not stain your clothing. So in the early years, it was quite often used to make the little dolly pegs, and did not stain anybody's clothing. And in the Second World War, lots of rifle butts were made out of sassafras. So yeah, very fashionable rifles heading off into the World War with your sassafras butts on them. Has anybody heard of your black heart sassafras? Black heart? So that sassy that we've got down there is actually a black heart sassafras. So the tops of our sassy trees are very delicate and whippy. So they are quite often broken off in a high wind, which leaves the top of the tree exposed. Moisture and junk can get down inside there and it grows which stains the timber jet black. It doesn't harm the tree at all, it just gives it that beautiful black staining, which is very highly sought after. Sorry, I've had a mind blank. Bear with me, folks. I'll just collect myself. To the outside? Yeah. Not to my knowledge, no. It's just luck of the draw that if you're milling a sassafras log, you get the black one. Very, very exciting. Yeah. So they're whippy tops were quite often used as bullock whips in the early years. So yeah, early bullock whips. Our tree here, our stringy bark, used to live up in the grove behind us. It's come crashing down many years ago. Our myrtle tree here has adapted, and it reaches from the end there way down, and it's actually resting in the river. So within this tree we basically have the full rainforest that we have just walked through. So we have native laurel, we've got your myrtle, we've got everything in this tree. So gradually the tree will continue to rot away, whether that will take another 100 years, 200 years, 500 years, we don't know. No, I wish I was though, I really do. And then everything in it will make its own way and continue to thrive. Animal species of the area, like I said earlier, we have your echidnas, wallabies, wombats, rookawalas, your devils. So in Tasmania, your paddymellons, which are the little wallaby-like creatures, the little hoppy ones, they are in plague precaution as they have no natural predator any longer, aside from humans and our people. So they're pardon? Not so much wild dogs here in Tassie. Feral cats, yes, definitely. Yeah, but I think Parks and Wildlife do a pretty good job of control. Hopefully. I've only seen the odd few around this area. I don't get out much.
If you have a property, can you shoot them yourself?
I don't know of any laws against it, so I don't see why not. Yeah. So yeah, the paddymellon's main predator was the Tassie tiger, the thylacine. A quoll will give a paddymellon a good go. It probably would be hard pressed to take down a fully grown adult one, but yeah. And then your Tassie devils come on in and clean up the mess. Echidnas. So echidnas are one of my favourite animals here in Tassie. Living on the mainland for most of my life, you think of an echidna quite small, compact, really sharp with all of their spines. Tasmanian echidna, the largest one I've seen, about this big from nose to bum. Still sharp, still has spines, but incredibly fluffy. So all of our animals here in Tasmania are considered subspecies from their mainland counterparts, and that is purely because of the cold weather. So cold weather, they grow the larger body mass to help themselves cope with that cold, and yeah, therefore are a subspecies. Did you? Did you feel its sharpness, or was it nice and soft? Soft and fluffy? Yeah. And I've learnt recently echidnas swim, which, yeah, it's on my bucket list to see an echidna swim. Yeah. I'd love to see that. Yeah.
Grab one and
throw
it.
Yeah. I have seen a wallaby swimming across the river. The most you can see of it is like the top of its head, but I'd really love to see it in like a tank to see the logistics of a wallaby swimming. They bite with their legs, do they whirl their tail? Just one of those curiosities. That's it. Yeah, just one of those curiosities. Any questions, folks?
But all too soon, it's time to wander off, and we make our way back down the river after a very enjoyable day.